Robert Reynolds. My mother was Judy Brown. My mom was also a grandmother, a future mother-in-law, a sister, a niece, a great aunt, an aunt, a cousin, a friend, a neighbor, co-worker, a guardian. We all will miss her very much. The pain we all felt upon learning of her death will always be with us. I stand here today to see justice served, not only for my mother, but for the many. I speak not just for myself, but for everyone who was affected when my mother and 5 others were senselessly murdered, and 2 others who were severely injured. My statement is for the record of the court, not to the guilty in this courtroom today. In my opinion, the guilty has no remorse, and there is no and never will be redemption for him. By the actions of the guilty, love and our time with our loved one was taken away from all of our lives, and that can never be replaced. The woman who gave birth to me is no longer here in my life. My mother's retirement was taken from her. She worked very hard all of her life up to the age of 72. She was enjoying her life as a retired person. She often said to me, she didn't know how she worked because she got so busy once she retired. She was active with her friends, her family, her church, social groups. My brother and I had to disassemble her entire life. It was gut-wrenching. Many of her closest friends and quite a few family members spent almost 2 weeks helping my brother and I pack up and empty her home. We sold her house, we sold her car, we kept some sentimental items, but basically gave away the rest of everything that she worked for and achieved and chose to keep in her life. I drive past her old house, and there is no evidence that she ever existed. Now she only lives in our hearts, pictures, and memories. Time was taken away through months and now years of grief. Love in time was taken away from my now wife and I, because I couldn't start a relationship after this while grieving and burying my mother, disassembling her life, seeking justice, learning how to live without her. My wife will never be able to know the love my mom had for me. My wife will never be able to get to know my mother. My mother will never get a chance to know and love my wife. My mom will never see me in a happy marriage, which was one of her greatest wishes for me. My wife grieves with me over this loss. Love and time were taken away from Mom's friends and family members. She was a loving and giving person and is deeply missed by many. Love and time was taken away between her brother, my Uncle Bob, and her. They were very close. They had happy hour or dinner together almost every day of the week. I like to believe she named me after him, but unfortunately now I won't be able to ask her. She retired in part because she felt she wasn't doing enough to help Uncle Bob with his everyday life responsibilities dealing with dementia. Time was taken away from my coworkers who had to work extra hours to cover my times when I was unable to work due to my grief and the many trips here to handle her estate and seek justice. The state of Michigan is my hand of justice. I will never get over what happened to my mother. I will spend every day the rest of my life missing her. I will rest a little easier knowing the guilty has his time as a free person taken away for the rest of his life. He is lucky he still exists on this earth. My mother doesn't. She never will again. Due to the guilty party's wanton disregard for life, that's all I have to say.